President Trump hitting the road again next week, back on tour to sell his economic agenda and hammer the Democrats who gave America the worst inflation in decades. Chuck and Akeem leading the charge to pin their mess on Trump.
He is in such an effing bubble that he doesn't even know what average people go through. He's a billionaire. He doesn't worry about paying for groceries. I don't know if he's ever been in a grocery store.
Our country is far too expensive. Donald Trump and Republicans promised to lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down. Costs have gone up across the board.
Thank you, straight Obama. So President Trump is getting prices down by rolling back Biden-era fuel efficiency standards for vehicles. Here's DJT and the Ford CEO.
I think affordability is the greatest kind of. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. We had the highest prices we ever had, and now they're all coming down.
Today is a victory of common sense and affordability. We believe that people should be able to make a choice, as you said, Mr. President, and we will invest more in affordable vehicles.
So, Kennedy, this is pretty big news for the auto industry and for the purchaser of autos, because Trump is rescinding these CAFE standards, which would end up fining hundreds of millions, even over $1 billion to Ford and GM. That goes away due to their draconian emission standards. Yes. What say you? How important is this?
Well, it's important if you're an automaker and you want to make money, and if you want to make affordable cars that people can make and buy in the United States. I think that's priority number one for GM and Ford. But unfortunately, they have been beholden to these standards, these ultra-leftist standards that are telling car manufacturers, you know, we have to have an arbitrary fuel economy number by the year 2031, 50 miles per gallon. It's a great pie-in-the-sky dream. We're not there yet. We are not on track to do that. So they were forced to make electric vehicles that drivers didn't want to buy.
Right.
They're expensive. The tax credits weren't enough to offset the cost. And, you know, it's word of mouth from other people wasn't enough to boost that part of the industry. And Ford stopped making a lot of those EVs knowing that they were going to get penalized with these Biden-era fees. But now what they can do is actually respond to the market, which is what they should be doing.
Right.
People are a lot smarter and a lot more sophisticated than they were 10 years ago. And they know, people know, based on other people who bought electric vehicles and people who've bought cars recently, hybrids right now are the way to go, where you can still put fuel. You can go to a gas station and still put fuel in your car. It's under $3 a gallon for the first time
Amazing.
since March of 2021. And you can go home and charge it. So that's how you get better fuel economy, and that will put us on a more rational road to eventually having lower emissions or give everyone a nuclear reactor for their own.
Oh, that would go great with my EV Bentley. So, Dana, let's talk about these Dell accounts. They're incredible. It seems like something like Trump, why didn't anybody think about this before? Talk to the billionaires, make a deal with them, and all of a sudden you got, is it 25 million accounts for kids, cash for kids that they invest? Well, explain it to me.
Okay, I'm not saying I know all the details, but basically the idea is for any kid that is born between January 1st of 2025 and then it goes through 2028, they will automatically get $1,000 in an account.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that money stays there, and parents can add to it. It's sort of like, you know, the education accounts.
Right.
A 529 account, you can add to it tax-free. Employers, your employer, like the Fox News, could say, okay, yeah, we'll add to it, so that you start to get a little bit of a nest egg for a kid. That I don't think they can touch it till they're 18. They might use it for education. They might not. They might continue to invest. We know that over time, the best way to compound wealth is to invest. So
Right.
if you're starting early and rather than starting at the age 26, it's going to make a huge difference. The interesting thing on this one is you do have at least the first billionaires, Michael and Susan Dell, saying, okay, here's $6.5 billion to get us started. And remember when Warren Buffett started the Giving Pledge? And this was to ask all the billionaires and pressure all of them to say, you're going to give away all your wealth before you die. And so that's what Bill Gates and all of them are, well, maybe not all, but many of these billionaires signed up for the Giving Pledge. I think that this is very interesting because maybe this could be part of the Giving Pledge where you can fulfill it, but you know that your legacy is moving forward rather than you are giving it to, the blah, blah.
The blah blah. What's that? You mean Cars for Kids?
Something
No, it's interesting because we don't people just don't really look into charities, and this is so simple. My question is, and Jesse, you're probably wondering the same thing. Is that just the kids' money? I mean, can we take it if we want it?
I thought they were getting their own set of wheels.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's what was. It didn't matter if the kid was 7 or 17; he was going to get a hot rod.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of things are scams. I give my money to different types of charities.
Really? Like what?
The Jesse Waters
the Jesse
Foundation?
Waters Foundation.
Yes. Those are for.
No, I actually am so generous. For some reason, that's not what generous people say. I know. But for some reason, over the years, I've gotten such a bad rap, mostly because of you,
No.
about how I don't tip.
You said you don't tip.
That's not true. I'm such a generous tipper. I am. That's like one of my best qualities.
You once door dashed for like a $5 coffee. Do you remember that?
No. No. What's the question?
I don't remember.
I don't care.
Talk about the
What do you want me to talk about?
gas prices are insane, but the media won't talk about it because the media doesn't drive.
That's a good point. They Uber,
Yeah.
or they're driven.
Yes.
But gas prices are down, rent's down, and mortgage rates are coming down. If I were Trump, I wouldn't say everything's great all at once, because it's not. It's getting great, and there are certain things that are amazing, but there are such thorny problems because Biden drove up prices so high that it's difficult to get out of this. So if I were the president, I would just say, listen, hold my hand. I will take you to the golden age. This is what I've done. This is what I'm doing. This is what's going to happen. I would not say affordability hoax. Yes, it's a hoax that the Democrats are politicking on the issue of affordability because they're the ones that made it unaffordable. But you can't say the issue is a hoax because there's things that are unaffordable, and they're just going to run ads that say affordability hoax, and you're going to get killed. I would just hammer these things. Energy, stock market, jobs, jobs, jobs. This AI situation, the data centers, if you're a blue-collar guy, you're making 6 figures doing business with these data centers. They can't even find enough blue-collar workers to do the job. The amount of foreign investment that's pouring in, the mineral deals, it's an incredible amount of investment that's taking place. Is that going to be enough to change people's attitudes before the midterms? Maybe not. But if you have some sort of solution for health care, I don't know what it is, cut out the middleman of Obamacare. If you have a solution for the insurance rates, which are out of control, or the cost of tuition, which is out of control, you talk about it. And you talk about it over and over and over and over again. Schumer talking about high prices is insane. He made the prices high. But you know what? It's Trump's economy now. That's politics. He owns it now. And for better or for worse, it's going to be the Trump economy. So that's what I would do. I would hit those, and I would hit them hard.
Wow. All right. You know, Harold, speaking of Chuck, he said that Trump lives in an effing bubble. My theory is either you swear or you don't, right? What does effing stand for?
Not sure. It's good to be back. I hadn't seen you guys in a while. I'm happy to be back around
We
the
missed
table.
you, Harold.
I'd answer, you asked a question about why didn't anyone come up with this, but the risk of
Yes.
sounding completely self-serving. 25 years ago, I did in Congress. We introduced a baby account bill. We were inspired by something that happened in Australia. President Bush was in office, and there was an effort to try to be helpful to us. Larry Kudlow, who is in this building also, was a big proponent of what we were trying to do. I could not be more thrilled that Democrats, Republicans alike, and President Trump is doing this. I hope they do it even more. What I think it does is it gives kids who feel left out, who feel left behind, who feel divorced from the American dream. More Americans today feel that the American dream is out of reach for their kids, and even their kids feel that way. We got to keep people not only involved, but invested in believing they can be owners, and this is one way to do it. 2, I agree with you about 100% on what you just said. I think that Democrats are right to talk about affordability, and I'm concerned that President Trump doesn't understand how serious this issue is. Now, maybe he's playing politics with it at the moment. This reminds me of when many around this table often and correctly talked last year and a half ago about the importance, the power of the issue of the border, when Democrats, including Joe Biden, were saying, we have it under control. When the Secretary of Homeland Security said, there's no problem here, we often around this table were critical of them. I've said for a long time, politicians who ignore voters who believe they know what's best for voters or believe that the numbers show that voters are living a better life than they are, those politicians end up at home. The last election just a few weeks ago showed us that people are concerned about this issue. And even the Tennessee congressional race, although the Democrat didn't win, that race probably should not have been as close as it was, and I think it was because of affordability. The only message I have for President Trump is what Jesse just said. You've got to get out and give answers, because if you believe you can say just wait and wait and wait, people will wait, but your party will lose. I think the winners in this whole thing, Greg, are the voters, the American public, because if Republicans start focusing on affordability and Democrats, you got to hope that they're able to create a set of outcomes that improve the lives of every American.
Well, since you brought up immigration, I think there's a better analogy here that, like, if the Democrats suddenly came up and said we're fighting illegal immigration, we would laugh at them. That's why we're laughing at them now when they talk about affordability, because they created the spike in prices.
I don't disagree with you. My point is different.
Then let's just end it there.
When Democrats said that the border was under control, for President Trump to say that this is a con job or a hoax, that's what you were saying. This is not a con job or a hoax. This is real. Democrats ignored the border at their peril. And, the partisan in me says that I should tell President Trump to ignore it so Democrats can win. I want more Americans to be able to afford their lives. And to say it's not a problem, that it's a hoax, I think politically that's a problem for the president, but more importantly, substantively, it's a problem for the country.
All right, then. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it?
Very good,
Yeah,
very
very
Glad to be
green
back around
today.
the table.
You're very green.
No, but you're very, very green, Kermit.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.